Hello, today we are going to learn how to compare fractional numbers. We will divide the algorithm for comparing fractional numbers into 3 parts, and we will break down each of these parts. What are the resulting parts? We're going to compare numbers with the same denominator. Let's write down with the same denominator. Then we will compare numbers with the same numerator. And then we'll learn how to compare fractional numbers that have different numerators and different denominators. Let's start with identical denominators. We need to compare 2 fractional numbers. We need to compare 1 1/4 and 3 4ths. To compare fractional numbers, we need to put a greater than or less than sign. Let's compare these fractional numbers. Let's show these fractions in the pictures. 1/4. To show the fraction 1/4, we have to divide it into 4 parts. And color in 1 part in 4. 1/4 is 1 part in 4. And now we're going to show a 3/4 fraction. I'll divide into 4 equal parts because the denominator is 4, and I'm going to shade 3 of the 4 parts. 1, 2, 3. And I'll compare the results. I see that 1 part in 4 is certainly less than 3 parts of 4. Then the fraction 1/4 is less than 3/4. As a result, we have the rule of 2 fractional numbers with the same denominators greater the fraction that has the numerator greater. Less is the fraction with the numerator less. Now let's move on to the second part. We're going to take 2 fractions whose numerator is the same number. These are fraction 1, 2 and fraction 1, 3. Let's show fraction 1, 2. Fraction 1, 2. I'll divide it into 2 equal parts and take 1 fraction out of the 2. That's fraction 1, 2, and now fraction 1, 3. I'll divide it into 3 equal parts and take 1 part in 3. Then I see that fraction 1, 2 will be greater than fraction 1, 3 because 1 part in 2 will be greater than 1 part in 3. I'll put the greater than sign. The result is the rule of 2. Fractions with the same numerator. The fraction with the same numerator is the fraction with the denominator greater. Let's look at the last case. If I take 2 fractional numbers, 2/5 and a fraction 1/2. In this example, I have different denominators and different numerators. I can't use the rules we have just learned. What should I do in this case? Then, if we see 2 fractional numbers that have different numerators and denominators, we need to bring the fractional numbers to a common denominator. The common denominator is the number 10. I can write down this fractional number with a denominator of 10. And I can write the fraction 1, 2 as a fraction with a denominator of 10. But in order to do that, I have to multiply 5 by 2. If I multiply 5 by 2, I get 10. But then I have to multiply the numerator by 2. 2 times 2 is 4. From a fractional number 1, 2, I must get a fraction with a denominator equal to 10. Then I must multiply 2 by 5. 2 times 5 is 10. But I also multiply the numerator by 5. 1 times 5 is 5. So I ended up with two fractional numbers, 4/10 and 5/10. And in this case, I will apply the first rule. Of the two fractional numbers with the same denominator, the fraction with the numerator larger is larger, then 4/5 will be smaller than 5/10. And I can compare the fractional numbers 2/5 and 1/2 and put less. Today in the lesson, we learned how to compare fractional numbers. Next lesson, we will solve examples and compare fractional numbers. Today our lesson has come to an end. Goodbye. See you again.